Enjoy all your favorite sports like never before at BetMGM. Sign up using code Hawkeye and receive up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if you don't win your first bet. When you register with BetMGM, you'll get instant access to a variety of parlay selection features, live betting options, and the best daily promotions in the business. And with BetMGM at your fingertips, every play and every game matters more than ever. Remember to use code Hawkeye and receive up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if you don't win your first bet. Place your money line, prop, or parlay bets with the king of sportsbooks today. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. Iowa only. New customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards are non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Baker's, where you'll find over 30,000 mouth-watering choices that excite your inner foodie. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices, plus extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week. You can also save up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with fuel points. More savings and more inspiring flavors make shopping Baker's worth it every time. Baker's, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Hashtag no music, no intro. Man, what a day, man. As anyone listening to this podcast knows now, Andrew Christopher Brees, Drew Brees, number 9, officially retired from the NFL. 15 years to the day of him signing with the Saints. Been in the league 20 years. Something that we all knew. We all knew it was coming. And still, like that announcement, I was driving to Chili's. I was gonna enjoy myself a margarita, and then I got to Chili's, and there's way too many fucking people at Chili's. But I was driving there. The announcement comes, and maybe I had thought in my mind, like I had cognitively distanced myself away from like knowing that was going to happen, but still reading it and everything, it just hit differently, Brian, and it made me a little more emotional than I thought it would, even though we knew it was coming.
Yeah, I think just about everybody experienced that. I think everybody was like, okay, it's time to move on and all that shit, and we knew it was coming. But it's like just to see it, to see his words, it just put the stamp on it, and it just forced all of us to kind of collectively look back, and not just the last season, but just the entire Drew Brees, Sean Payton era, man. Like, it's what I've been wanting Saints fans to see, Like, just look at this whole era that we've had with all the pain that all this pain has come with it. It's been a good fucking time, man. And we knew this day was gonna come at some point. It's here. Like, this is it. Like, this is it. Like, Drew Brees is done with the Saints. He's retired and he's gone, and it's on to a new era, which we know was coming, but it's just like, it's just cemented. You know what I'm saying? It's like when, couples get a divorce. And you've been through it, so you know very well. Like, and when you actually sign those divorce papers, you're not separated anymore, none of that shit. You sign the papers, you are legally divorced and separated for good. It just hits different. It's like, okay, it's solidified in stone, So, and that's how the day was. It was just like, wow, it's it, man. Like, it's done. That whole era, on to a new one. Like Terminator 2, riding in the darkness. We don't know what's gonna come, but we know what we had, and nothing you can do to get that back. Is just gotta roll with it.
You gotta roll with it. I want this episode to be about Drew. Like, we could talk about the whole Taysom contract.
Nah, man, that's just funny. That's just funny.
We could talk about all that shit on a later episode, but this is the Drew episode. And I've seen it on Twitter, and just in regards to they're kids like in their, kids who grew up watching the Saints and just they knew nothing else except Drew Brees being the Saints quarterback, franchise quarterback, which is crazy. And this is coming from someone, and obviously you and a lot of Saints fans have been fans of the team much longer than I have. I got sucked in along for the ride, Jim Haslett era, Aaron Brooks days, Deuce days, and I they were so, as a team, they were just so lovable, and you're just like, these fucking guys. And then Drew came, and him and Peyton came together, and it just kind of just transformed the team. And we talk about it all the time on the podcast, like Russell Wilson wants to come to the Saints. Free agents wanted to come to the Saints after Katrina, and it was just, they just completely transferred the team, and a lot of that was in regards to Drew and his play. And I saw I didn't see a lot, but there's some he has the one championship, and it's just crazy to think about all the missed opportunities that as a player he endured, as fans we endured for just having absolutely just shitty defenses. And a perfect tweet said today, I think from Mike Sando, was no matter how bad the Saints defenses were, like the worst the Saints were going to be was 7-9. Like that's crazy. Like 7-9 was it with Drew, and that just goes to show how amazing of a quarterback in a career he had.
I mean, he brought the 2012 season Saints to 7-9, bro. Like Aaron Cromer was the head coach for like the first 6 games. No Sean Payton, no Joe Vitt. Mickey Loomis was suspended. The roster was garbage because after 2011, they had to, change out some things. Vilma was going through his little suspension, arbitration. All the Super Bowl players were kind of either in decline or they were gone. Defense was like, I think it's number 1 still as the worst, most passing yards given up by defense in NFL history. NFL history, not the most in 2012, the most ever in NFL history. And he was able to keep that team afloat, with no Sean Payton or nothing, to 7-9, and nothing to, I mean, it's not like 7-9 is great, but it's like, I remember that season, most games we were in it, you know what I'm saying? It was in it, but we knew, it was just like the defense just was trash. And it was just a fight uphill. But that was the greatness of Drew Brees, and that was one of his prime years, man. Like you can go back and look at highlights from that season. His arm was crispy, like it's like you just look back and like, oh, like what I'm saying? It just makes you just wish you could just feel the best team every year that we had them. But I mean, it's a business, and it's just hard to do that.
It is. And I think about, speaking of bad defense, I think about what the career narrative, we as Saints fans, even in these last couple of years when obviously he had, it wasn't the same player, but we as Saints fans, it's just hard to think it's that narrative of if he just got those stops, if his defense just got those stops for him in a plethora of fucking moments. Vikings game, man, we could go through them, bro. Vikings game, Minnesota Miracle, San Francisco game, 2012 divisional round playoffs. It sucks because we don't know what the outcome would have been, but it's that 2011 team, like that was the one, bro. Like we could talk about 2018, but that 2011 team, at least offensively, was just one of the best offenses, like top 10 in history of the NFL. And I think my biggest thing as a Drew fan that I experienced is that game. I was at that playoff game, and I remember being on the field and seeing him and his stature and being so fucking small, and fucking Justin Smith is trying to get to him, and he's battling Carl Nicks, and just seeing him just like around all these behemoths, bruh, just huge man. And there's Drew, and he's not very like imposing. It's the best way I could just say it.
Lack of a better term.
Yeah. He's not very imposing, and yet in a game we had no business being in, 5 turnovers, I believe, in one of the most ruckus away stadiums I've been in, and the fact that he led them down the field twice against that defense, first to Sproles, then to Jimmy Graham, just greatness personified, man. And it was
man, that touchdown to Colston up the sideline. It was like a it was that touchdown we needed. It was just kind of get some points on the board. It's like I remember Colston scoring that touchdown. It was just like, oof, like we're not completely broken, because like the first just quarter and a half,
yes,
almost just the whole first half, it was just like, good God, are we going to score? Like,
yeah, it was bad, bro.
And this is one of the greatest offenses we had. It's like, what the fuck?
And I remember that Colston touchdown is so funny, because that was coming towards, like, I was in that end zone, so like he threw it like it was coming towards me essentially. Both the Sproles and the Jimmy Graham touchdowns was going to the complete opposite way of the end zone. But I'll say to this day, and I haven't been at a lot of away games, but to this day, I have never heard a quieter stadium after that Jimmy Graham touchdown. Ooh, that bitch was a library. You could hear a pin drop, except like the spattering of Saints fans. We going fucking ham. We could talk about the divisional game against the Vikings, where again same script, bruh, same script, same thing. Came out. I don't know, the Vikings defense was on fire and everything, and then that second half, and after that Marcus Williams interception, just Terminator. He just got into like a zone, like Neo in the Matrix, where shit just slowed down, and he just was cooking the entire game in the second half.
It was.
Go ahead.
It was unbelievable, man. It was unbelievable. Like I was sitting at my wife's folks' house. We was all just sitting around watching the game, and just to see him come back. Because if you remember correctly, that 2017 season was weird, because it was the first time the offense kind of really changed. And Drew Brees, it was more of I won't call it ball control offense, but it was more about, Alvin Kamara. He was a young rookie, shining. It was Mark Ingram. Running game was on fire. Pick your poison pass game. You know what I'm saying? Like Drew Brees was real efficient with the ball. And he just kind of he would kind of get unleashed in spurts when they need him. You know what I'm saying? Like that Redskins comeback, the Carolina playoff game where he went off. Everybody was like, when Carolina game plan was like, let's just put the ball in Drew Brees' hand.
I remember that, bro.
And
he was like, oh,
you just diced the ball.
You gonna put it in my hands? Oh,
like,
bet.
We're just gonna stop Kamara and just put the ball in Brees' hand. Let him. I was like, okay. Brees just diced him up, and then Mike Zimmer, he's always able to just dial up against Sean Payton offenses, and it was rough. But for him to come back, I just never forget that throw he made to Kamara. That just beautiful. It's just a beautiful throw, man. And
that the one that was over Eric Hendricks.
Yeah. It just was just a beautiful looking throw. Like it wasn't like like some deep pass or nothing, but it was just one of those throws like that probably coaches would put on and just teaching tape, for the running back and the quarterback. You know what I'm saying? Just how to run that route and just way to throw the ball and all that stuff, the timing. And that Willie Snead, what was it, 4th and 10 or something like that?
4th and 10, bro. And someone posted that on Twitter today. I remember, I knew it was 4th down. I forgot it was like a 10. It was 10 whole yards. Like I completely forgot. Like they needed 10 yards to convert.
Pass rush just crushed around him, and that ball, like you can't even see Drew. The ball just kind of comes out and it's
boom
on the line, pop, first down.
Fucking,
and it's like
the Minnesota crowd going fucking nuts. Just whoo, like it's oh man, it's
God damn it, man. It's just like, damn it, we could have just got a few stops, man. I'm telling you that this motherfucker is defensive stops away from Super Bowls. Like that's unbelievable. You know what I'm saying?
So if we go back to it, you cannot convince me that 2011 team doesn't beat the Giants.
Giants come to the door. Well, I mean, look, you never know.
You never know. But listen, if when the Giants players they were interviewed and they were saying we did not want to go back to the Superdome because they were saying thank God. Yes, they had played the Saints earlier that season and it wasn't really that close. It was an okay game, but it wasn't like extremely close.
Like they didn't want that early. They would pull it away.
Yeah, and they just didn't want that smoke because they knew, bro. They knew. And then if at least I believe truly that 2011 team goes to the Super Bowl and wins another Super Bowl. If Greg Williams doesn't call an offensive defensive game plan at the end of that game. 17, I feel pretty confident that I still think that the Saints would have beaten Philly in Philadelphia.
Philly, yeah.
I know they had Nick Foles. Nick Foles was cooking. That was when P-Rob was on Philly going crazy. Still think Saints pull it off. Now I don't know if they would have beaten the Patriots in the Super Bowl, but and then we're kind of leaving. We're talking about bad defenses, but like let's not forget the most egregious missed call in the history of fucking sports.
Oh,
that's a game away from the Super. That's a game away from the Super Bowl. If we played the Patriots that season, I truly believe, even though that was kind of towards the end, and Drew wasn't the same. I still think that Saints team beat the Patriots pretty convincing.
You would have had 2 weeks to get Alvin Kamara healthy, Drew Brees healthy. They would have handled the Patriots, bro.
Yeah,
they would have handled it, man.
Yes.
I mean, just right now, we mentioned what 3 different opportunities. So, maybe they would have won all of them, but say we went to the Super Bowl 4 times, we probably would have won 2. 2-time Super Bowl champs. And look,
listen to what you just said. They could have potentially went to 4. The New Orleans Saints could have went to 4 Super Bowls, and that is largely because of Drew Brees being the quarterback for the last 15 years.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
And I know some people might listen to this podcast and like, these Negroes, these Negroes, like you forgot what Drew with the whole stance on the flag. Listen, man, we can have that conversation another day. Like,
it's like it's a part of his legacy, man. It's a part of his legacy, but what you want him to do? Like, it's not like. People could say what they want. They could say, "Oh, but he's just hiding what he really believes," And I don't know. I don't know Drew Brees' heart. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, he stood face to face with his players who were like legitimately like disappointed in him, and he stood face to face with them, and went man to man. That's the most you can ask. Like I can't judge Drew Brees, but those are dudes that really can judge him. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And just looking through, that's really pretty much what I've been doing because I was on the road today, but since I got home, just going through Twitter, looking at just the reaction from the league, from different players around the league, from his own teammates. I mean, Michael Thomas wrote like a fucking
Man.
like I wish. I mean, my wife ain't even write nothing about me like that. I'm like, damn, like, he was just like he must have said about 10 times through it, like, man, I just love you, bro. I love you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? I mean, Larry Fitzgerald just like you the most inspiring person I ever met in my life. You know what I'm saying?
Wow, bro.
I mean, people. I mean, we're so cynical today. All of us. I include myself in this, but just it's a part of our culture today is this kind of cynicism, and we kind of look sideways at everything and look at ulterior motives and all this stuff. And I'm not saying Drew Brees is some kind of fucking, perfect dude. He does his shiesty shit, I'm sure, just like any other human being. But we all try to just project these little ulterior motives on people like they are up to something deeper than what they are. But from everybody I've read and listened to that have like played with Drew Brees and or played against Drew Brees or met him or worked with him, they all say like he's just like an inspiration. He's a outstanding leader. He's a relentless worker, and that's everybody. Like everybody. So I mean, who am I supposed to believe? Some jerk off on Twitter that just doesn't like Drew, or like people that have actually spent time and worked with him and put blood and sweat and tears on the line with him? I believe them. You know what I'm saying? So that's just where I come away with it. I'm like, he like the New Orleans Saints just got like the perfect quarterback at the perfect time, like when they really needed it.
Needed it, bro. Needed, and it's kind of goes a little low key in Drew's legacy. But he wanted to sign with the Dolphins. Like I think people really forget.
Oh, yeah.
he
No question.
He wanted to go Miami.
And then, that was about money.
Yeah, absolutely.
They offered him a backup deal. Like they offered him a prove it. You know what I'm saying? Like prove it deal. Like like what Cam Newton just got. You know what I'm saying? Like just take this little $5 million base. Now, if you are a good quarterback, you'll get your less of money. But other than that, and then the Saints paid him what $10 million. Saints basically gave him a $10 million 1-year contract,
which is nuts, and also the exact same amount that he's going to be making for NBC next year, bro. Money bag, Drew.
Money bag. Well, Drew bought his money, make no mistake.
100% about his dough. It's still kind of surreal, man. It really is. Just how many moments, and that's what. And shout out to a good friend of mine, Nicole, on Twitter, for basically saying that Drew Brees is a big reason why. I mean, he's not the sole reason, but Drew Brees has led to a lot of moments that Saints Twitter has come together over and has brought us closer. Like without Drew, like there would still be Saints Twitter, but like he's led to so many moments and as us as people, as Saints fans, to get even closer with each other. That it goes beyond football. In regards to the connections that we've made as fans, with him being on the team.
Yeah, man, absolutely.
Just as an example, like if the Saints quarterback was, I don't fucking know, Jake Delhomme for like 10 of the last, like are we as Saints Twitter as close? You know what I'm saying? Like,
man, we might be a motherfucking San Antonio out this bitch.
I'm just saying, bro. Like, it's such a relevant point of how him coming it obviously he's not the only reason the city of New Orleans stabilized or whatever, the football team stabilized, but
no.
It was needed. Just like when Reggie came and he brought that hoopla, it was needed. It was something like Drew's a New Orleans legend.
I mean, like you said with Reggie, like I remember how Reggie did not want to get drafted by the Saints, and I remember him saying that, Drew Brees called him, after he got drafted, and
Hey,
basically calmed him down. Like he just calmed him down. Because Reggie, come from that area. He watched Drew Brees play with the Chargers, and just for him to call and be like, "Look, man, we got this scheme. It's gonna be you and Deuce. We're gonna do this, do that." Reggie was like, "Let's go." You know what I'm saying? He was good after that. He wasn't just tripping. He was like, he told him about New Orleans, like, man, look, there's nice houses you can live in and stuff like that. City coming back, and that was Drew. I talked about this before. What I always appreciated about him is he became like an ambassador of New Orleans when
yes.
we really needed that. New Orleans was a dying urban city prior to Katrina, and after Katrina, not saying Katrina was a good thing. It wasn't. 1,900 people lost their lives, but from that, we were able to create a sort of renaissance for the city where, New Orleans was put back into the mind of Americans, or for the world, really. And people thought, hey, maybe I should visit that city, and, Drew Brees would go on Jimmy Kimmel or Jay Leno or Letterman or whatever, Ellen DeGeneres, and he'd talk about New Orleans. He'd talk about, good things about New Orleans, how he loves the city and shit like that. And that means something, man. Like, that means he's talking to people that's sitting in their house thinking, like, yeah, I can go visit New Orleans. And that's the lifeblood of New Orleans, tourism. Like, people visiting, coming, enjoying
Yes.
the food and tipping waiters and tipping bartenders and, you know, spending money and enjoying themselves. That's the lifeblood of New Orleans. That's how a lot of people live. And so him doing that, beyond all the charitable stuff and all that, just that was like huge for me
Huge.
because he put like a classy face on the city. You know what I'm saying? That just that, like, yeah, Drew Brees, everybody loved Drew Brees. So, New Orleans must be the place to go.
It's ah, it's just yeah. I mean, I think we covered it all. It's just, and then now it's like, I think we know what's next, right? It sounds like more than likely it's going to be Jameis, and we'll see how that looks and how that's going to unfold. But just his impact on not only New Orleans, but his just impact on the league, man. Like, because like we're speaking of from a Saints perspective or a Saints fan perspective. Like, don't forget, like, he got drafted by the Chargers, and his career didn't start off great. And
Yeah,
then a few years later, like, because his career didn't start off great, they already drafted his successor, Philip Rivers,
yeah, yeah.
and and at that point, I wasn't much of a football fan. Well, I was, but not as much as I am now. And obviously I didn't know much about Drew then, but now knowing everything about Drew, or knowing a lot about Drew, like, I can only imagine, like, him as a competitor, like, how that must have been like, what that
Yeah.
happened to him. And
Oh my God.
Philip Rivers rookie season, Drew came out and he, put on a show for the Chargers. The next season, Philip Rivers' second season. So this is Philip Rivers. Drew kept Philip Rivers on the bench for 2 seasons
Mm-hmm.
because that's just him being a competitor.
You
And
don't see that. You don't see that much at
nope,
all.
being an
And
alpha.
who knows what would have happened if Drew Brees didn't injure his shoulder?
Like, yeah, because then at that point, the Chargers have a decision to make, because it's like, all right, well, do we go with the rookie? Because, we go with this rookie that they didn't trade like a whole bunch. Like, they got a lot for getting Philip Rivers. They got Philip Rivers, they got Sean Merriman, and I believe they got like a first round pick the next season.
Yeah.
Like, they got a shit ton. But their debate would have been, we drafted this young guy. We drafted him technically they drafted him. Well, they drafted Eli first, but then the trade. So whatever. They got Rivers at 4, base ultimately. But, like, do you mess with what's been working? And Drew was clicking. And that, I guess a better way to describe it is, imagine if the Chiefs would have had like a decision to make between like Alex Smith and like Patrick Mahomes after the first season. Like, it just doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. And a lot of reason why that did happen is because of Drew. and his alpha dog competitive nature. And he was like, this kid ain't taking my job.
And I mean, I just been, just scrolling through Twitter today, just looking at people talking. I saw some jerk off say something like, Drew Brees, he was a good quarterback, but he wasn't like some kind of game changer. Should he really go to the Hall of Fame? I mean, blocked. You know what I'm saying?
I was about to say, but I was like, I hope you blocked this person. Like,
but I just was thinking about that. I'm like, during the draft every year, I just like to go through and read different quarterbacks coming out and what they talk about, the interviews and shit like that. And so many of them, when they get asked, like, who do you pattern your game after? Who do you study?
So many say
many
Drew,
of them
bro.
are like, look, I've been studying Drew Brees since high school. His coaches show Drew Brees to show what you should play like. Like, what's the archetype of how a quarterback should play? You know what I'm saying? Of course, you could go out of the box and do your athletic things, but playing as a pocket quarterback in the NFL, this is how you do it. This is how you maneuver the pocket. This is how you read your progressions. This is how you use all the mechanics of your body to create the most RPMs on your ball. It's just, footwork. I mean, footwork impeccable. The way he, releases the ball. He's a short quarterback. So I mean, we're living in a day where it's not a big deal if you draft a 6-foot quarterback. I mean,
Right.
fucking what's his name? Arizona Cardinals quarterback.
Kyler Murray.
Kyler Murray. He's 5'10". 5'10".
That's insane. Like, Kyler Murray's around like the same size that I am, bro.
He would have, bro. I mean, 6 or 7 years ago, he would have went 3rd, 4th round. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
As talented as he is, just because of his height.
Yep.
Just because of his height.
He broke the mold, bro. He broke the mold.
Broke the mold, man. Because what do you see? Anytime a quarterback comes out that's 6'1" or less, he's just a Drew Brees. Like, you know what I'm saying?
It's true. It's true.
So, I mean, don't give me no shit about game change. This man changed the game and opened the door for so many good short quarterbacks. And he just provided teaching tape to year for every quarterback.
And you did. And I'm not trying to like make any conspiracy theories or whatever. But you said it with Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray, you know who probably should have went in round 1, top 10, top 5? Russell Wilson.
Exactly.
But he didn't because of what?
He was short, man. 5'11".
There you go. There you go.
And who did Russell Wilson look up to more than anybody? If you follow Russell Wilson's career, he looked up more than anybody to Drew Brees.
And that's why he gave up, started in the Pro Bowl last season, because at that point Drew wasn't, Drew didn't know if he was coming back or not. He thought it was going to be his last, And it's so funny, people. If you listen to this podcast, I know we're focused on Drew. If you're a fan of our show, read the tea leaves. Like, I swear to you, stuff in the NFL, not everything, because some shit comes and it's just like, oh shit, I didn't see this coming. But a lot of things in the NFL, I swear to you can see the fucking smoke signals. It is usually fucking out there. And I remember everyone completely dismissing it. Like, Russell Wilson just giving up his number, letting Drew start. So I'm like, no, like, that's something. Like, that means something. That is abnormal and atypical behavior. Like, what are we doing? And I just see that a lot on Twitter where it's like, oh, people are like making this a big deal out of nothing. I'm like, no, this fucking means something, bro. And this is again before Drew decided that he wanted to come back. But like, sorry, that was a little tangent. But anyway, like you said, he broke the mold. He has opened the door for that size, that body type to be acceptable in the NFL when it wasn't. And yeah, so anyone, and I didn't see a whole bunch. I didn't see a whole bunch at all. But anyone with talking shit today on Twitter, just one negative word about Drew at all, got the big block.
Damn, Shaq. I was just shocked that I didn't have him blocked already, because I'm like,
that is very. First of all, that is very shocking to me.
I did not. I did chat block damn shit because I can't stand him. Like
can't stand him, bro. Like cannot stand him. I purposely unblocked him and basically said let him. I quote tweeted his tweet and let him know that I was unblocking him just to let him know that he's a piece of shit and a miserable fucking person. And
I mean, how is it that the fucking Atlanta Falcons
come on, man,
sends out like a nice little warm
come on.
video to breathe, but fucking Dave Damashek, like who the fuck are you, man? And like just don't say shit. Like, oh, I mean, if you hate Drew, that's fine. Like, I get it, it's sports, but like to just throw some shit about being like a stat magnate, and you know, Brett Favre should have won the whatever. Like, what the fuck?
When his quarterback out here was sexually assaulted women, but
yeah, like come on now, that's
whatever. But Drew stat yeah, you look at my face, man.
Man, I'll tell you, bro. Sports bring it out of you. Boy. I'm like, man, if I was around there, dude, I'd have punched the shit out of that boy, man.
Could you imagine like it being like in a pre-COVID bar, you know, just chilling,
man.
And like, you know, me, like, let's say we at the fucking Shamrock, right? Me, you.
The fucking Shamrock. That's the worst place.
Oh, me, you.
Scoot that boy up. Pop, pop, pop.
Jordan, we just hanging out, and he like walks over to the table, like, oh, like, well, you know, really, like Drew. He has the most fucking annoying voice I've ever fucking heard.
Oh my god! Like anytime I put on a Round the League podcast,
and he's on it.
Hey, fellas, I'm like, bloop. Well, not listen to y'all.
Not listen to that one. Nope.
Fuck that, but oh man, Jordan gonna whip his ass. That cocky motherfucker there.
Yeah. So I just it's just man, miss going to the Shamrock, bro. Some good days. We'll be back soon.
Bro.
We back soon. But it's funny because someone tweeted this literally yesterday. Oh no, it wasn't tweeted. It was my boy JJ who's playing Call of Duty with us. He's in the Saints Twitter Call of Duty squad, and he said this on a voice chat, and he said that if Drew would have retired last season, that there would have been like a second line for him, and the whole city of New Orleans would have been, and now partly because of COVID and partly because of the whole controversy of what he said, how his career kind of pattered out, that wouldn't be the same type of reaction. And it's funny because after today and seeing like everyone's response, like I still believe like he's gonna get his day, bro.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if you see some videos come out tonight and just some people out there, shaking it for Drew or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like just I mean, that's how we do in New Orleans, and we always celebrate our people that leave or go on and move on. And man, the city loved Drew. We talk shit about him because it's sports.
But also it's funny too because that's like family, right? Like we can talk shit about you, because you're family, but you can't.
You can't.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Any outsiders out here fucking throwing.
Whoa! Is that whoa?
Right?
Talking about, bro. Relax, motherfucker.
But we can say the meanest shit about him being.
I mean, it's funny because like literally for weeks it's been, you ain't gone yet, Drew. Shit.
Right?
The fuck out
of here. Niggas, okay, all right.
Posting shitty food every week.
Oh like, my God, what was with that shit,
bro? Well, I mean, so what's something you always just gonna remember about Drew? Just over the years, like just something you just never forget, Whatever it is, I don't know.
It was just my first time seeing him play in person, man. Like that to me on that stage, and I've seen him play in person quite a few times now. But just being in that stadium and just it kind of reminded me of Rudy a little bit, like towards the end, where John Favreau goes, was it John Favreau or whoever goes, look at him, he's so small, he's so tiny. Like like that's what it like. I saw him because you see shit on TV and seeing shit in person. It's like that's it. Like that's all it is. Like he's that big, but then you see him play the game at that size and what he was able to do playing. Like he was amazing, man. Like he was amazing. I remember being at the game with Kevin, the Broncos game. The fucking block extra point step out of bound game, and seeing that he led. So this was, this was Von. I remember the Saints were down. They had to go down to the field, score a touchdown. This was when Von Miller kind of in his prime. Kind of just coming across the edge, and I just remember Drew that ball was always just out. And remember him driving the team down the field. So this was Mike Thomas's rookie season. This was when Brandon Cooks was being fucking Brandon Cooks. But he drove the offense down the field, and I will never forget being in the Superdome, and he connected with Brandon Cooks for a touchdown on an incredible throw, an incredible catch, and just the explosion from the Superdome, like that sound. Oh my God. Man. Like that out, and it was euphoric because it's just like, wow, man. Like, wow. And it's so funny too, because I remember when me and you went and saw him play the Bucs game in week 1. I remember you hadn't been to a Saints game in how long had it been before that?
Probably it was 2004 last I went before that. So
yeah, so that was your first time seeing Drew play in person.
Yeah, in a game. Like that was my first
in a game, which is crazy.
Yeah.
So that for me that's the last memory is just being in that stadium at Candlestick and seeing him do what he was able to do at his size, just against an incredible defense, and just being there to fuck the outcome, just being there to experience all of that sticks out to me the most. What about you?
I mean, for me, it's just those games where it was that Drew Brees night. You know what I'm saying? Like primetime games, or he had a record on the line, or whatever, where it was just Drew Brees night, man. 80% completion. You're going to put 300, 400 yards on you, 4-5 touchdowns. Just killing them. I just love those games, bro. And I tweeted earlier about how I remember when, like, the only Saints news you can find is like in the Times-Picayune or WWL 870 radio. Like, that was it. Buddy D. You know what I'm saying? Like, other than that, you put on ESPN, Saints ain't getting mentioned. Like, it was no mention of the Saints. Other than getting their ass whooped, like, losing to Michael Vick. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was it. Like, that was the only highlight you saw. Them, Michael Vick running up, or the Minnesota Vikings, or the Buccaneers, or whatever, or when we did win, they might just gloss over the Saints and be like, hey, yeah, the Saints won today. They beat the St. Louis Rams by 12, and that's it. Just move on. It's like, damn, man. It's just like, remember just being, that's why Saints fans are so, kind of, especially the older ones, kind of insecure when it comes to like people talking about the team. They're like, oh, y'all don't talk. Why don't you mention the Saints? It's like, motherfucker, they mention the Saints, motherfucker, like that. You know what I'm saying? But they're so used to be like the Saints just being excluded because like we were the Lions, we were the Titans, we were Jaguars, we were that team that just didn't get talked about, that nobody really cared about. And obviously it's different today because Twitterverse and everybody has like their own Twitter and everybody's to talk. You got NFL Network, and the NFL is just like this 24/7 thing. But man, years ago, it just wasn't that, man. It was about the Cowboys, it was about the Giants, it was about the Patriots, that was it. Like, you know what I'm saying? So for this now, the Saints just to be one of these upper echelon teams, and when Drew Brees, it's Collinsworth, and it's Troy Aikman and Buck, and it's a primetime game, or it's ESPN. Back with John Gruden, he would just talk glowingly about the Saints. how
Global.
Drew Brees and Sean Payton and Saints. Drew Brees are just slice up a team, slicing up the Giants, slicing up. Remember, Green Bay was one of our shitty seasons. I don't know if that was 14 or 15.
I think that was
Green
14.
Bay can't. Yeah, 14. Fucking sliced up Green Bay prime time. 2012. I remember we played Philly. It was Mike Vick's Philadelphia Eagles. I think that was Andy Reid's last season there, I believe, or maybe second to last season. But we sliced them up in prime time. Like we actually looked like a good formidable team and a good formidable defense. I remember that was Cam Jordan kind of come out time. Like I remember Cam Jordan shining, Drew Brees shining against the what prime time? Patriots 2009. Like just a game that nobody ever forget. Perfect passer rating when he just was locked in, man. Like locked in. Like we had just never seen that as Saints fans, man. We just was like, wow, like this is what it feels like. Like this is what it's supposed to feel like. Not knowing that, like this wasn't even a norm for anybody. Like we were one of the lucky, one of the lucky in the NFL to have like an upper echelon quarterback that's gonna go down in history with one of the greats, man. Like one of the greats. We were fortunate to have one of the greats. Like people can argue about where he fits in as far as best quarterback of all time. I don't know. Like that shit is it's a ridiculous argument, but he's in the conversation. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Top
Yes.
5, top 10, whatever. I don't know what you want to do. In this era, it's Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees. They're all in that conversation.
Yes.
So just to have that as Saints fans, like, what more can you ask for, bro? Like, what more? Like,
Yeah.
Lord, yeah, we would love to have more Super Bowls and all that shit, but we had our chance, man. Like, we were in it. I never turned on a Saints game feeling like, no way we fucking win.
Mm.
I always felt like, well, we got a chance, but maybe not. But I never felt like we had no chance with Drew Brees at the helm. And Sean Payton called the plays.
Yeah. It's the end of an era. It's in a like someone I think someone tweeted it's the end of the era. I think Mike Triplett may have tweeted that. And we'll see we'll see what happens. But I think what fans should take away, Saints fan, is that we had a for 15 seasons we had a true franchise quarterback.
Yep.
True franchise quarterback. The hardest thing to find in any sport is a true franchise quarterback. We had it for 15 years. Like you said, we didn't win all the championships that we wanted to, but we got one. And even now, my daughter's, which is crazy, my daughter's turning 11 this month, so it's been like 11 years since the Saints won the Super Bowl. But that aside, like he was a big part of why that euphoric night that we all experienced that night of them winning the Super Bowl. Like there's nothing like that. Like there's nothing like it. And now, and we'll see. We're gonna see how it is. Whether it's Jameis, probably going to be Jameis, whoever it is, whoever's quarterbacking week one. We'll see what happens. But I think we're going to see like, oh shit, like we had a franchise quarterback, and it may be a long time before we have another true franchise quarterback. That's just how the game goes in the NFL. But for 15 seasons, we didn't have to worry about quarterback. And like, we didn't even talk about this, but can we talk about the man's longevity, bruh? Like, just in terms of like his, like, towards the end there were, the injuries where he couldn't play, but the fact that he played for so long at his size, especially with the Saints, and didn't miss many games at all due to injury, like that. Man.
Oh
man.
I mean, you can't ask for more. And when you think about what I feel was like his last great stretch was 2018. Like the first 11 games. Here's the stats. First 11 games, 3,135 yards, 29 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and a 127 quarterback rating with 76.4% completion percentage pass. First 11 games. Then there was some little injury he came up with, kind of faded down the stretch, but that was a no call year or whatever. But man, first 11 games, that was just like really legitimate shot to win the MVP that year.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, everybody was arguing, should it be Drew or Patrick Mahomes? That was Patrick Mahomes' first year starting, and he was lighting it up too. But it was like a legitimate push for Drew Brees, but he faded on the end. Patrick Mahomes just kind of ran with it to end the year. So, people argue about that. I understood. I'm like, look, Mahomes, the boy, like broke the fucking touchdown record that year. Like, it's like what you just gotta give it to him. You know what I'm saying? Give it to the kid. And look, Adam, don't mention it. Let it go. Anyway.
Not even. I'm good, bro. I'm good.
Okay. All right. Good. But I feel like that was his last stretch with greatness. And then he would just, that greatness would pop up here and there, like 2019 with the, San Francisco game where he went crazy. Then that Colts game where he just was just perfect. This last season, he just, outside of that second Tampa game, you just never really, you never saw it. It just never, it was just kind of gone. You know what I'm saying? It just, when you look back at it, it's like, yeah, it was time, And I think he knew it too. That's why he's hanging it up.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll go into like I think your T2 analogy was perfect, bro, because it is the great unknown. Just we're forward for it, and we'll see what happens, and it'll be new and it'll be exciting, but I'll tell you what, whether it's Jameis, whether it's Taysom, that first interception happened week 1.
Oh boy, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun at least, bro.
Oh, this upcoming I am glad that we have a Saints podcast, because this upcoming Saints season, the jokes are gonna be on a different level, bro.
I'm ready for it, bro. I'm ready for it, man. But
different level. So I mean, I don't have any more really to say about Drew. What I will say is, today's Sunday. We are 2 days away from free agency starting. There's already been a little percolation with news and some little trades happening here and there.
Has tampering period started?
That starts tomorrow.
Okay.
That starts tomorrow.
We're gonna get some news tomorrow then. Yeah.
Yeah. Tomorrow, Tuesday, shit's gonna start popping off. Like it's
a lot of agreed to.
Yeah.
Don't you? How do you feel about the tampering, bro? I kind of missed the opening day of free agency with the Adam Schefter.
Yes. Yeah. I don't like the tampering, because it kill. It's like Christmas, but like if it's your partner or your parent already told you what you're gonna get.
Yeah, exactly. That's a perfect answer.
Just keep it a secret. Like let me unwrap tear the wrapping paper off and be like, oh shit, this is, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, it kind of kills it. It is what it is. But it's gonna be exciting. Like I said, news is already popping off here and there. I know. So we finished our Drew talk. I do want to say, can we talk about how there are 10 guards, 12 offensive guards interior on the offensive line, and like we won't be able to get a single one of them?
Why can't we?
So they already messed with Pete's contract, so in restructured his contract. So cutting him now, I think that accelerates that money. Like I think that's why the whole thing of when Mike Thomas also restructured his deal, the prospect of potentially trading him for another quarterback has decreased.
I'm just saying there's another guard spot.
Is there?
Yeah. I mean, is Ruiz like written in concrete? Like, I mean, I didn't see any play. Did you? I didn't see any play.
I did. So I guess So then what are you doing? What are you doing with him then? Like, are you moving him to center and then you put in Eric McCoy at guard? Like, are you just?
I'm just saying my perspective. I bring the best players personally. Like, if I know, am I going into the season thinking guard is solidified with Caesar?
Absolutely
No,
not.
I'm not. I'm not.
Can't do
But
it.
I'm not saying they're gonna go out and spend big money, but I mean, with the players that's out there, and like we've heard, like a lot of these players are going to sign like little 1-year cheapy deals, trying to get the next year. I try to get the best guard I can get for the cheapest price available. That's just what I do. Whether it's Reed starting or him or whatever, like I would solidify that spot. But you know what's interesting is just the approach, because obviously you want good offensive linemen all across the board, but just with Drew Brees leaving where that interior was so important for him, it's just I wonder, I just wonder how they approach it now with whoever they have at quarterback.
I 100% get that point from a football like perspective, but man, and I said this on Twitter, bro. Like, Ruiz just got manhandled a lot last season, bro. Like people were like, "Oh, well, he was out of position." I was like, "Did y'all watch his snaps? It didn't matter if he was at center. Like, the outcome would have been the same."
Right. I mean, guard is not that much different from center. Like, Jesus, it's like, come on now. Like, if you get beat, you get beat.
Take it from someone who played both, obviously not in the fucking NFL or not even in collegiately. Take it from someone who played both guard and center. It is not that different at fucking all. Like, at all. Like, stop.
And I'm not saying that's not to say, well, like, he was a rookie, no off season, all the little excuses you can come up with. Like, he has them, and they're legitimate excuses. But still, like, do you go into the season with those excuses, or do you plan? Do you have other plans on the side? Like, you know what I'm saying? So,
shit, better call up Cineo. Calamete,
baby. I'll bring him back. Like, bring Calamete back, man.
Shit. Don't let James hashtag put him in a Hurst leave, nigga. James Hurst was.
We need Hurst, brother. We need Hurst. That's my dude.
You know, Toronto gonna miss at least 2-3 games next season. You gotta have a backup.
Automatic.
Gotta have a back. It's gonna be exciting, man. It's gonna be exciting. One of my favorite things on Twitter was like every Saints fan like responded to that Russell Wilson tweet. Like everyone. He knows. And then it's so funny too, because I guess that the question really becomes like Ian Rappaport reports that basically a deal between the Saints and Jameis, like they're working on it. It's not done yet, but they're working on it. And if it gets signed, like all indications that he's going to be quarterback one. And it's like, and maybe I'm missing something. Maybe it could be I'm missing something. But if you as a team, know that a top 5 quarterback is on his list of one of 2 teams that are only really in the game right now, like, do you not exhaust every possible way to go get that quarterback? Or is it just you just were so impressed with what you saw from Jameis, last season in practices and whatever, that he's your guy? Like, that's crazy. And again, we don't know what's behind the scenes. Maybe they tried and offered Seattle numerous things, and Seattle's just not budging. But it's interesting, man. It's interesting, especially if Russell Wilson gets traded, like later in the offseason or whatever. Like I'm gonna have some questions. That's all I'm gonna say. Gonna be some questions.
Oh yeah, me too. But even if they do sign Jameis, I don't think that will prohibit them from getting Russell Wilson.
You don't?
Nah, man. Like, I don't think the money he's going to get is going to be extravagant whatsoever.
Bruh. Could you imagine?
It's going to be fucked up. Like, I was going to say, Jameis is gonna be fucked up, but it's like, bro, like it is what it is. Like we got Russell Wilson. Now you free to go find somebody else.
Could you imagine in the next 2 weeks? First, it's the phony Taysom Hill contract that sent Mike Florio just aghast.
Oh, did it? Oh, I didn't read Mike Florio.
Sent him aghast. Then let's say they sign Jameis, tomorrow, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever. And then like next week, boom, bomb drop. Like Saints acquire Russell Wilson some type of way, whatever. Bruh, I'm just like you said, I got to find a way to screen record my phone and just scroll, bruh. Just scroll through that timeline nice and slow. Make sure I don't miss a single fucking tweet.
And fuck Adam Schefter for that Taysom Hill tweet. Because that shit almost killed me, bro. I'm on the I-10 doing 85.
Four for 140?
Pull up my phone like, what the fuck? And I keep reading. I'm like, what? I'm like, so I had to keep reading it just to understand it. I'm like, wait. Oh my God. Almost killed me, man. Shit.
Oh man. But we will be back later this upcoming week to kind of recap free agency, not just from the Saints perspective, just around the league in general. And just kind of go around. Like there's going to be moves, but it's going to be a very unique free agent period just because of the cap being depressed. Like you already said, like it's already talk of like players are going to be like, just give me a fucking 1-year deal. I know the cap's going to go up next year. I know that new TV money is going to come in. There should be fans and stands, so more revenue for teams. I'm just going to take a 1-year deal, and that's why the idea, like, they're becoming like, when it's hard to do it in the NFL, but like more quote unquote super teams are going to be formed because more people are willing to, more players are going to be willing to take 1-year deals. Very. I forgot who was throwing out that notion, but like it's very fucking possible, bro. Like very fucking possible. And
I think you're gonna see a lot of people try to go to fucking Tampa Bay.
Lovely, fantastic.
Motherfuckers.
Why not? Why not? Anyway, that'll do it for this episode, and I hope everyone who listens enjoys it. I don't know if I'm gonna do it tonight. I probably should do it tonight because this week's gonna be. I plan to reach out to our first guest we had on the podcast, Tony Pauline. I mean, I might wait to reach out to him later because free agency is gonna be popping. I'm pretty sure he's gonna be busy, but maybe end of March, first week of April, get him on the show. Kind of a year, kind of full circle. He was our first guest when we first started doing this thing. Talked to him about if he's hearing anything that the Saints are draft wise or what have you. And that'll be interesting. So I have one more question for you, then I'm gonna wrap this up. You said that if the Saints signed Jameis, you don't think that would preclude them from going after Russell Wilson. Which to me that we'll see. But would you apply that same theory to the draft?
What you mean?
Like if they sign Jameis in the next couple of days, if Trey Lance hypothetically is slipping down the draft boards and he's at like 15, 16, you think they'll,
No, I think they will confront with whatever opportunities present themselves at the time. I don't think they're not sitting around and wait. So if they can get Jameis signed, they're gonna sign Jameis. And come draft time, they're gonna draft a quarterback if a quarterback is there, or trade up for a quarterback if it's somebody they really like. They're gonna do that too. You know what I'm saying? Sean Payton not stupid, man. Like he knows, you cannot play around with the quarterback position, bro. It's not a fucking game. Even though he has kind of played with it, the past couple of years, he still had options available, and I think I think it's the same thing. Like they'll draft. It wouldn't shock me if they moved up for a quarterback or something. Mac Jones, Trey Lance. Hard to know how the buzz is for anybody these days. So no. I mean, now if they drafted a quarterback and had Jameis, like that would definitely take us out the Russell Wilson sweepstakes. I think at that point they'd be moved on from that, but I think they're just gonna keep kind of working on it. I mean, who knows what kind of information they're getting from the Seahawks, from Russell Wilson's camp, because it's just one of those weird things where ultimately the Seahawks can drive it how they want to drive it. Like at any point they can just say like, oh, okay, all right, let's trade him. You know what I'm saying? Like right now they could just be like, well, there's no reason for us to rush. Let's just wait around and see and just try to make it happen.
I'm just saying, man, it's getting a little messy in Seattle.
Yeah.
Getting messy.
It is, man.
Just saying. But anyway, we'll wrap this up. We'll be back later in the week, recap free agency, potentially. We'll maybe do an episode Thursday night, Friday, depending on how much news has popped off between now and then. If there's any fucking like bombshell breaking fucking news, we will 100% be recording fucking emergency podcast as soon as we fucking can. Like if fucking they trade for Russell, that's emergency podcast worthy. Them signing Jameis is not emergency podcast worthy. I'm sorry. But we'll be on it. As always, thank you for our Patreons and our subscribers and everything. And fucking buckle up, man. All our listeners buckle up. It's gonna be a fucking ride this upcoming week.
Yes, sir.
So with that, we're gonna get out of here. We're out.
Peace. Yeah.
Enjoy all your favorite sports like never before at BetMGM. Sign up using code Hawkeye and receive up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if you don't win your first bet. When you register with BetMGM, you'll get instant access to a variety of parlay selection features, live betting options, and the best daily promotions in the business. And with BetMGM at your fingertips, every play and every game matters more than ever. Remember to use code Hawkeye and receive up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if you don't win your first bet. Place your money line, prop, or parlay bets with the king of sportsbooks today. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. Iowa only. New customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards are non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Baker's, where you'll find over 30,000 mouth-watering choices that excite your inner foodie. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices, plus extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week. You can also save up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with fuel points. More savings and more inspiring flavors make shopping Baker's worth it every time. Baker's, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.